Choptank's a distribution co-op, so what that means is that we buy all our electricity and then we distribute it. So we don't produce any on our own. And in fact, a lot of the Maryland utilities now have divested themselves of their ownership of corporate assets that have to do with energy production. Even Delmarva Power has split off that entity. But Choptank's been that way since 75 years ago when we were first started.
Yeah.
Choptank's always been supportive of all of the above strategy, and I think
why not? Yeah.
you also hear that on the national scale. You can hear President Obama talking about all of the above strategy, because I don't think there's one answer. I don't think you can just eliminate coal as a power source, nor can you ignore the benefits of any of the new so-called green power, such as solar, wind. After 3 Mile Island, of course, the country went on a hiatus, and unfortunately, I think for the nuclear industry, the hiatus has lasted too long, and I think it's really good for the country as well as part of our natural strategy. I mean, national strategy. I think it would help eliminate some of our dependence on foreign oil. Once the it seems to me now that some of these concerns that we had back at 3 Mile Island have all been addressed. Certainly nuclear plants are being put up across the world and have been for the last 20-30 years. So all those safety items that maybe weren't in place then are now in place now. As far as licensing goes in the country now, and this is a result of some national policy shifts, there was actually some encouragement within the last 5 years from the government to the nuclear industry and to the utilities, saying, okay, sort of now shifted gears. We see that nuclear is a cost-effective, long-term viable power source for this country. I mean, at some point in time, all our oil, all these fossil fuels in the ground will either run out or become such scarce commodities that they'll be expensive. And we do have a lot of coal in the ground, especially domestically. That'll also continue to be a viable source of power, particularly once there's more and better controls on the pollution aspect of coal, and I'm sure it'll be better 10 years from now than they are now. But nuclear also seems to be part of the mix. It's a good, viable, and clean option. Nuclear really is, in a long-term basis, one of the cheapest fuels that you can utilize for electricity, and it's once you turn a nuclear plant on, it basically runs all the time. It really doesn't need to be shut down very often. It's shut down occasionally for maintenance, but it's a reliable base load type operating plant. If the country, and at least our perspective here too, is if you take this all of the above approach, that okay, we can't be all green power because the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow, but it's an important part of the mix. And then you realize that nuclear is also an important part of the mix, and coal, as long as you can keep it clean and keep the emissions clean, can be a good part of the mix. I think with a portfolio of supply, the supply will be there. The other thing that's helped in electricity prices for the last 3-4 years is the advent of the use of shale gas.
Controversial,
but it works. North Dakota is now the #2 domestic supplier of oil, in the continental 48. Well, actually, in the 50 state, it's surpassed Alaska as a supplier for the U.S. So it's remarkable within the last 5 years how much domestic oil and natural gas has become available because of the shale and fracking. That's not going away, and that's a trend that's really helped mitigate pricing for electricity. Most people's electric bill is two-thirds of the electric bill is based on the power supply piece itself. So it's only 1/3 that goes to the guys that are out there keeping the lights on, and us inside here making sure that we render a proper and correct bill. So the bulk of someone's electricity bill at home is based on power supply, and so having that new technique and the abundance of available natural gas in this country is going to really help moderate the pricing of electricity for the next 5-10 years. Already, you've probably seen articles itself or that are out there in the news about how the cost of electricity being moderated or even decreasing has helped U.S. manufacturing. So some of the manufacturing that was outsourced in the past is now coming back. So we'd like to have some of that manufacturing come back to Choptank Electric territory so that we can get a few new members on the line.